So I wanted to take a few minutes with this video to talk about 3 interesting PlayStation 5 stories, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. Now, the stories I wanted to cover today includes the return of Bloodborne still being on the way, God of War Ragnarok's next trailer seems to be further than we thought, bringing up the topic of delay once more, and Sony's big potential studio buyout has been revealed. First, yes or no, have you played Bloodborne or not? I personally have played the game, not to completion, just played it a bit, but ever since I heard the Bloodborne Remastered rumors, I kind of just played the game a bit, didn't want to go any further, waiting for that, 4K 60 FPS upgrade, and whenever it comes, that's when I'm going to start playing the game again. But that's just my situation. I know a lot of people out there have played and loved the game to death, and have replayed it many times since. So comment below, yes or no, have you played Bloodborne ever or not? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, the Bloodborne Remaster / Bloodborne 2. So it's been a while since we've discussed this topic because it's been pretty much silent on this front for some time now. We originally heard rumors of a Bloodborne Remaster being revealed at certain events, but that never came to fruition, with each event passing and no sign of Bloodborne Remastered. Now, this belief of Bloodborne being remastered was fueled further by the fact that Sony was releasing patch updates after patch updates for several exclusives on PlayStation 4, giving them the 60 FPS support on PlayStation 5. Of course, Bloodborne didn't get this, even though the community has been essentially screaming for it. So Sony could potentially be saving it for the remaster, which is lame in my opinion. If you could provide a 60 FPS patch, they should just drop it on the original and provide a bigger incentive to buy this remaster. But to continue, in comes Bluepoint Games, one of Sony's latest studio buyouts, who have been amazing at remaking titles. The studio has been rumored to be working on a Metal Gear Solid remake for a while, but we still haven't seen anything on that, and things have been very quiet on that front as well. I'll just note that the Metal Gear Solid rumors could still be true, considering Bluepoint Games was working on the Demon's Souls remake and the Shadow of the Colossus remake at the same time. When Shadow of the Colossus released back in 2018, that team could have potentially moved over to remaking Metal Gear Solid, and when Demon's Souls remake was released in 2020, that team could have moved over to Bloodborne. That's just my thought there, possibly, considering it takes the studio roughly 2 to 3 years to make remakes based on their schedule, their history. I'm wondering if we could see something this year from them. But putting that to the side, Colin Moriarty of Sacred Symbols is the one who pointed to Bluepoint when it came to Bloodborne, but he didn't stop at one game. He said the studio was working on a remaster of Bloodborne 1, along with working on a ground-up sequel, Bloodborne 2. Obviously, we don't know if that's the title, but the sequel to the original game. Of course, we all know the people who made Bloodborne are the now defunct PlayStation Japan and From Software. Obviously, From Software is not defunct, PlayStation Japan is, but it was not Bluepoint. That's the point there. It's not Bluepoint who made the game. So making a sequel not from the original studios had some people worried, or still has some people worried. But this also made sense, as Bluepoint themselves have stated to be working on a new game, not a remake, so it lines up to a certain degree that they could be working on a sequel to the original Bloodborne. And after working on Demon's Souls and potentially remastering Bloodborne 1, maybe the studio learned how to possibly make a Bloodborne 2, a possible sequel, a good game, to a certain degree. Since this information has been out, it's been months of quiet and no real rumors on Bloodborne until recently. Colin Moriarty is back again during their 200 episode podcast celebration, stating this when a fan asked about Bloodborne. He said, "You haven't seen the last of Bloodborne, I'll tell you that." This fueled the hype once again, with people excited for Bloodborne to make a return. Again, it's going to be 2 years since the last Bluepoint release later this year, so I'd assume they could be close for their next release. Now, diving into the second story of the video, Sony's next studio buyout. So Sony has been pretty much buying smaller studios left and right, focused on talent like Bluepoint Games or Insomniac Games, or of course Bungie, which is a much larger studio there, for example. And it's been confirmed that they're not done yet. Earlier this year, we heard murmurs of a big acquisition happening sometime this year. This was after the Bungie and Activision buyouts. People didn't mention the buyer at that time, but many guessed it was Sony, considering Microsoft is going to have to deal with getting Activision, that behemoth, on lock first. As time passed, the rumor then moved to Sony being the buyer of this big studio, and around the time of the Kojima production rumors, Jeff Grubb came out to say that the studio he heard of being bought out by Sony is bigger than Kojima Productions, leaving many to guess it to be Square Enix, most likely. I personally have been saying that Capcom would be the better option in my opinion, but recent rumors have put that down. Square Enix, as we know, has sold off its Western developers, leaving them with Square Enix Japan. Sony has been pretty close with Square Enix Japan with Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy XVI, Forspoken. They've been pretty tight with Square Enix Japan. That's where they kind of stick with. Jeff Grubb has come out recently to state that the big studio buyout he heard of for Sony was Square Enix, stating this: "Okay, I've said this 1,000 times, but there's always someone who's hearing it for the first time. We never really hear enough to report on acquisitions with any certainty. Sony acquiring Square was the big rumor, but I cannot confirm that. I continue to not know." So this is the bigger than Kojima buyout he mentioned in the past. He does state he can't confirm it, but really a lot of people have been guessing at this, especially after them selling off their Western developers, essentially leaving what Sony mainly cares about, which is Square Enix Japan. We'll see if this happens, of course, later this year, but you guys let me know if you're happy or not to hear Square is the potential big buyout by Sony. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the final story of the video, the potential God of War Ragnarok delay. So this story around God of War Ragnarok's release date has been up and down in recent memory. We haven't gotten a new trailer for this game since the showcase last year, and considering the studio last year confirmed the game is set to release in 2022, it's been weird to see them being so quiet considering it's May. Looking at recent events going back to April 20th, the 4-year anniversary of God of War 2018, we had Cory Barlog come out and give us an update on what's going on with God of War Ragnarok, with him essentially saying that the studio's heads down, focused on perfecting the game, making sure everything is top notch, tightening up the graphics on level 3 before showing anything else, and the moment they're ready to show something, they will. This had people, including myself, kind of worried about the game releasing this year, considering we were about to enter May at that time, and we didn't have a release date as of yet. This was calmed down once again by the Sony Santa Monica dev team. We had Bruno Velasquez, animation director, once again come out to inform the public that this game is still coming out this year, stating Ragnarok is coming this year. So, leaving on that note, it was positive. But now the thought of delay comes to mind once again with today's information. Reading from Gaming Bolt, PlayStation has had some major heavy hitters this year, from Gran Turismo 7 to Horizon Forbidden West, but arguably its biggest exclusive is God of War Ragnarok, which is releasing this year. Unfortunately, those hoping to catch a glimpse of the highly anticipated sequel this month may be a little disappointed. In a Reset Era verified insider, Ash Hung responded too soon last I checked to an unofficial tweet about a state of play for the sequel on May 27th. This lines up with what creative director Cory Barlog said last month about it just not being ready to be shown. However, animation director Bruno Velasquez recently reassured fans that God of War Ragnarok is still slated to launch this year. So I already called out the state of play poster that's being mentioned here that was going around. We didn't actually need it to be called out since it was a fan post. It's a fan post. It's just wishful thinking, speculation, which of course is all right. That's always fun to see. I'm personally betting on a June reveal or a state of play for God of War Ragnarok after the Xbox Bethesda showcase, so after June 12th, I believe. Probably after that, we'll get some more on God of War Ragnarok and maybe an actual showcase from Sony, from Sony. But once again, this has some people worried about a potential delay. And all I'll say on that front is, if it is potentially going to be delayed, if it is, I would hope Sony would just confirm that to us already instead of making us wait months and then showing us the actual date, but that date doesn't seem as far then months down the line because we're closer to that date as opposed to them showing it to us now. If June comes around and another trailer drops with no date, I don't see this game coming this year. I would hope by then they can give us an exact release date for it. I'm still hopeful Ragnarok is still coming this year. But you guys let me know if you see God of War Ragnarok coming out in 2022 or 2023. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button as it always helps. And subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is to body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with bring on the showcase. Obviously, this relates to the next big showcase from Sony that hopefully will include God of War Ragnarok, if not a state of play for God of War Ragnarok. If you're excited for that, destroy the comment section with bring on the showcase. And I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.